is Japa Kaur, and I want to share with you my glorious ladies camp experiences that I've had over the past 20 years. I started out in 3HO in my 20s, really wishing to be married. I was a single and not so happy to be a single person. I'm sure some of you single people out there can relate to that. So I was sort of figuring out, how can I get ready? How can I get married? And so I started this process of, I would call it a process of self-purification. So my yoga teachers actually were very fierce, very powerful and beautiful people. They're Shiva and Shabadkar out of Chicago. And they said, Japa Kaur, if you even have a man visiting you at your apartment, we will kick you out of this ashram. And I took that to heart. That sounds a little extreme. Maybe you guys are going to cut this out of the video. but I was like, okay, I'm going to purify myself. I'm not going to date. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to hang out with women. I'm going to do lots of sadhana. I'm going to do lots of seva. And so I did that for 3 years, and I did a really solid sadhana, and I did lots and lots of seva, and I attended a lot of women's camps and a lot of solstices. And when I was with all of these women, I actually attended school during that time, and I was in a class of all women. And I just really focused on my personal grace and how I could be like the strongest woman in and of myself that I could be. And so when I went to women's camp, that was where I really trained myself. And I would listen to all these mantras, and I remember walking up the hills in Espanola, and there was this beautiful apricot tree, and it had been in full bloom and had these beautiful fruit on it. And I picked one of the fruits off, and I ate it, and I looked at the little pit inside, because one of the teachings is every date has a pit, right? So when you get married, you swallow the pit and you absorb any challenges in the dating relationship. You fully absorb them and you stick to the commitment no matter what. So I took this apricot and I took the pit out, and I said, I am going to swallow this pit. I'm going to find my husband and I'm going to absorb the pit. So I kept this pit in my wallet, and I chanted the Adi, I forget the name of it, the Adi Shakti mantra. Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti. It has another name, the Kundalini Bhakti. Kundalini Bhakti mantra, thank you. I chanted the Kundalini Bhakti mantra for 6 months everywhere I went, like in my mind. So I was like ninja mantra warrior. I was on the subway in Chicago. I was at conference meetings, corporate meetings in Chicago, in the Sears Tower. And in my mind, I was Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Namo, Namo. And it was the energy of women's camp that filled me up with that mantra. And I completed my process of self-transformation, and I get this phone call, we have a husband for you up in Canada. And I'm like, okay. And so it was my beloved husband, Harpal Singh, was presented to me on a golden platter. And I was like, okay, let's get married. Our first conversation, we talked about marriage, and we talked about what we felt we needed in life, and we never actually officially dated. We just met each other and got engaged. This was the old-fashioned way, back when Yogi Bhajan was around. We were introduced by our elders. And I truly feel that it was that love of myself and my sacred goddess womanhood that I fully embodied when I was at women's camp, being with all the other ladies, that helped me to create that container for my husband to be able to come to me. So I hope that you come to women's camp. I hope to see you this summer at ladies camp in Espanola. I'd love to meet you and be with you. Sat Nam.